Hey everybody, welcome back to Hear Our Voices. This is your host, Kaden, and our guest speaker for today is Elizabeth. Elizabeth, tell me a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Elizabeth Bird. I have been living with a housing voucher for close to 17 years.
Oh, wow.
I have 6 kids, ages 28 to 12 years old.
Oh, that's a full house.
Yeah, very full house.
Yes.
I'm divorced for like 12 years now.
Okay.
Um, so my housing journey go way, way back.
Yeah.
And
You have
until
seen.
recent, I literally we got permanent housing after so much years.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
That's interesting. So can you go go back in the
Hmm.
archives and tell me initially how you end up homeless or who even told you about PAP?
So we moved here in 2003. Um, Me and my 3 kids at the time. My ex-husband had come over for like maybe 6 months, and he was like, "Hey, I got a room. I'm ready for you guys to come." So we, left Belize and we came.
Okay.
Um, because the kids go to school, I learned about Citizen Advice Bureau.
All right.
And, they were helping me like, hey, how do I get housing or what do I do? At that time, I'm currently pregnant with my now 17-year-old.
Okay.
And we were literally living in rooms.
Mm.
And my caseworker at the time was just advising me like, hey, you have your American born son, you guys can go, to PAT. And I'm like, what's that? You know, it's basically a shelter because we were having so much problems living in rooms. Because you never know when they're like, oh, we're not taking, rent no more. You guys gotta leave.
Right.
That did happen and we had to leave. And we had to leave the PAT because we didn't have any other choice to go. Um, and this was 2005. So a lot of people don't know unless they lived it. 2005, the EAU, they are fast tracking you.
Okay.
So because we didn't have like someone to verify us from the room,
Yeah.
they kept telling us you're denied, you're denied. So every 10 days we would, get a place to live. And then after that 10 days, oh, you guys are denied. I'm like, so what do we do? Well, you apply back again.
It's
You know,
frustrating.
there was no choice. My ex-husband lost maybe 3 jobs
Yeah.
in that 6 months time because we went there in February. We got we got eligible in April, but because they were shuffling us so much, we didn't find out we were eligible until June.
Are you serious?
So serious.
Wow.
So between February and June, we were waking up 6 o'clock in the morning, have no idea where we are. We just wait for that yellow bus to come and
Yeah, I hate that
drop
bus.
us off at EAU. Hmm. Drop us off there. Um, you know, I go in, I'm checking in, getting the kids breakfast, getting in line from MetroCard, taking them to school with a baby. Um, and I either go back there or if I have, stuff to do, I would, you know, I guess walk about all day or take the baby to the library. Um, and then do that whole procedure again come 6:30 in the evening.
Wow.
So every night was a different like hotel they called it.
Yeah.
It looked like a normal apartment when
Yes.
you go into the rooms and stuff. Or sometimes if it's in Manhattan, it's like a bunk bed situation with a tiny fridge and a microwave.
Got it.
and they didn't care where they put you for the night. You got somewhere to sleep for the night. So, knowing the type of person I was just thankful we had somewhere to sleep.
Oh, that sounds rough. That really
Yeah,
sounds
so
rough.
that went on for 6 months until they placed us. And we were still hesitant. I'm like, okay, we're here. How long are we gonna be here for? Till the
Yeah.
people told us, like, no, 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 you guys will stay here until you find a place. And we were like,
Are you sure?
because we're going through this for 6 months. So you
Exactly.
never thought, you know, that like you're already traumatized. Like, yeah, sure, they told us that at the last one.
Yeah.
But they were right. We stayed there, I think till December. Um, because a person came in, she just bought her first home, and she found out from a family member that worked for the shelter system that families always need to rent somewhere.
Right.
So she um they gave basically the shelter and said, here's a family. I met her, she felt comfortable, we saw the apartment, we signed the lease, and we were good. What the shelter told me to do was, hey, apply for NYCHA, apply for Section 8. So I did.
Yeah.
NYCHA came true, but because my husband didn't have his, green card,
Right.
the person that he was working for refused to sign
Oh,
um,
wow.
the payment stuff. So we lost NYCHA. And then months after that, we got Section 8. I was like, okay, because everybody's like, nah, you're not going to get that right now. That's going to take 5 to 10 years.
It does take forever.
We got NYCHA and we got Section 8 so fast.
You're lucky.
And we did Section 8. We told the landlord, hey, this is what happened. And she had a 3 bedroom and she was getting ready to buy another house. So she was like, I can have you guys, I could rent you guys the upstairs. So I was like, okay. So I stopped looking for places because she was ready to, rent us upstairs.
Yeah.
Come to find out, I'm like, what happened? I saw some people moving maybe 2 months after.
Oh, wow.
I thought you guys were taking long. I was like, I am not taking long. It's not my thing. I have to go with what these people say. I've been going through the process. Um, you know, I just have to do what they tell me. So we ended up had to go hunt again, and I was so happy and blessed that we found one maybe 2 weeks after.
Yeah.
And this lady had a 3 bedroom apartment. She was ready to rent us. Um, and we got it. Now a year in, Section 8 is paying the rent a whole year. Now I'm at baby number 5. Um, they told us they made a mistake.
What? Made a
So I'm like,
mistake.
wait, how do you mean you made a mistake? I said, I kept on asking, how does Section 8 work? Because at this point, there's only one American citizen in the household. Number 2 was on the way.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it goes by family. I'm like, okay, no problem. That's why I'm asking.
Right.
And then a year passed, and now you made a mistake. So from the 17,000, I think they were paying, they dropped it to 250.
Okay.
And then
Wow.
HRA was paying 250. And I'm like, where are we gonna find this whole? I think it was 1,200 or something we had to come up with out of pocket. And I'm like, I don't know where we're gonna get that from. At the time, my ex-husband was not working.
Right.
Even if he was working, he wasn't making all that money um,
Exactly.
to pay that rent. Otherwise, why would we need you? You know?
Exactly.
And my lovely landlord decided that she don't want any more programs.
Oh.
Took me to court to get us out. Um, so then I realized I'm like, well, we don't have nowhere to go. I'm looking for places because now I'm trying to get FEPS from HRA,
Right.
and I'm at the courthouse in the court, and the judge is telling my landlord, like, what is wrong with you? This lady owes you over $10,000 in back rent,
Right.
and you don't want to give her a lease so that FEPS can pay your back rent?
Exactly.
She's like, that's not the point. FEPS is not supposed to pay. It's Section 8. They're the one that made the mistake. They're the one. I'm like,
Doesn't
she's like,
matter. You're getting money.
Section 8 ain't gonna pay it. What part you don't understand? Section 8 is not gonna pay it. And I'm like, no. And she's like, well, okay, fine. If I give her a lease, I get back that money. What happened to the other month? Who's gonna pay that month? I'm like, what does this lady do not understand? Like, they are gonna pay the rent every month. After
Exactly.
that, I think I was in court with her like 5, 6 times back and forth, and I was done. I was just like, okay, do what you want to do. Um, so the day came. I had somebody that I knew that deals with the marshals, and she was like, okay, um, August so and so, marshals are coming to your house. I was like, okay, that gives me enough time. I'm a pack. I got all the information that I needed. Um,
Right.
the storage was giving like a truck for you to come in and rent their storage.
Mm-hmm.
We left, I think, the day before the marshals were supposed to come because I just couldn't put my kids through that. You know,
Right.
having a bunch of people in uniforms coming to tell you to get out, and they were still young.
Right.
I had babies. I think my boys were like between 6 and 3 years old. Um, my teenager was 15 and 13, something like that, around that age. So they're still young.
Right.
And for them to go through that, like, we didn't even want to go back to the shelter because they've been through this already.
Right.
And for me, the hardest part is spending the day at the EAU. It just traumatized them. But we had to go. The reason my ex-husband became my ex-husband, he was like, well, if you're going back to the shelter, I'm not going. I was like, well, I got to do what I got to do for my kids. Bye.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And because I was going through all that stress, I didn't know I was 7.5 months pregnant.
What?
Yep. So I had a 9-month-old and I was pregnant and didn't even know.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Because during the whole 9-month pregnancy with the first baby girl, the second baby girl, I have 3 girls and 3 boys. So one girl came first, 3 boys in between, and then the 2 girls came back to back. So I was already mentally going through a lot of headache. My sister-in-law had recently died, and I was very close to her. We did a move, had a baby, basically an emergency C-section. And then now this lady's telling me after I had the baby, like, oh, I'm gonna take you to court because Section 8 is not gonna pay, your rent. And as soon as we got in the shelter, they wanted medical stuff, and that's when I found out. I was like, okay, like, just bring everything on. So that was 2009. I had the baby December 2009, and at the time we were living in the Bronx. And when we went to the EAU, we spent maybe 12 hours or more. But that whole 12 hours was just traumatizing, all over, especially for the older ones,
Yeah.
because they remembered it so well. Up to now, my 17-year-old has vague memories of that instance. And we were in the Bronx. I was pleading with them, like, can we stay in the Bronx? They shipped us to Brooklyn.
Of course.
They're like, listen, If you don't want to take this, it's your right. You don't have to take it, but you're gonna have to wait here. This is 11:30 at night.
Right.
We've been there from like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, we'll take it. I'm like, I can't right now. And they're like, do you want to wait for the van? It's 10 minutes. I said, sure, we're gonna wait. And that's how we ended up in Brooklyn. And we were at that shelter for close to 5 years.
Are you serious? 5 years?
Yeah, because there was no, this is Bloomberg era. This is before de Blasio came in. There was no voucher.
Oh
And
my
the
God.
shelter really, really messed me up because I told them when I went in, I said, hey, I was about to get the FEPS.
Right.
I still, keep up with HRA and let me tell them where I am and do the voucher. My caseworker told me, no, because you're here, that went down the drain. Everything went down the drain. So I was like, what happened to Section 8? Oh, that's no good no more. So I believed
Right.
her because I didn't know what else to do.
Right.
Fast forward 8 years later, I spoke to Chief Assembly office manager for an assemblyman. And she's like, they lied to you. You
That's
could have still
crazy.
had your FEPS or fixed the Section 8 and find
Yeah.
an apartment. And I was like, wow.
They traumatize their family because I don't know, I guess misinformation. And that's what I don't like about shelter
Mhm.
workers. A lot of them are just either too lazy or they just
Yeah,
don't know the information.
they don't care.
That's
Yeah,
so
we
sad.
were there for 4.5 years. So my baby girls grew up there. Whiching I'm like, sometimes you gotta be somewhere because God wants you there.
Yes,
Um,
definitely.
none of my kids did daycare, but the girls did daycare. And I'm happy to say my kids were blessed. Um, they took really good care of them. Like I'm still in contact with the babysitter
That's good.
from the daycare. And like, they would invite me to church and they were like, Miss Bird, you can't tell nobody, we invited you to church. We're not supposed to fraternize with you. I said, who do you think I talk to here? I don't talk
Right.
to nobody. I basically talk to the workers.
Right.
I mean, even it was like we did a lot of stuff. Um, they literally, how do I just have to use the word bully.
Wow.
They were getting a new person, a new director. So now because I'm there for 4 years, they're trying to, what you gonna do? Because DHS are coming down on us. And um they can call ACS on you. And I'm like, what?
They love doing that. Shelters love trying to call ACS on parents who are trying their best to get the children together. It's
And I'm
ridiculous.
like, we don't do nothing but go to school, um, you know, see our friends that's in the Bronx. Like when I say friends, they're like family. They will bring us home.
Right.
You know, nobody's gonna drive you from Bronx to Brooklyn,
Exactly. That's
but
true.
they
That's pretty
will bring
far.
us home. And even if we did this once a month, like what am I doing? I do everything. I'm telling you, they had so much workshop. Who was always there? Me. If nobody showed up, I was there because you're like, do what you have to do. I'm doing what I have to do.
That's
You know,
crazy.
I literally ran from the place because a friend of mine said, hey, there's a studio. Do you still need a place? I'm like, yeah. At this time, my now, I think she was 18, nearly 19 years old. She had left already. So now I'm just with 5 kids
Yeah.
because she's doing her own family now.
Mm.
Um, so I moved into a studio with 5 kids, don't know how to pay the rent, just trying to figure it out.
Hi, guys. Thank you for listening this far to the podcast. As you can see, or probably you know by now, this is a three-part series. So, guys, sit back and relax for the upcoming episodes coming up in the following weeks. Thank you for listening. Also, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. The stuff will be in the description down below. And if you have any questions or if you want to be on the podcast, guys, if you want to be on the podcast and be a guest and you were in the family shelter, definitely write us in the email or you can DM us anytime. And I'm definitely always up, so I'll listen to your messages. So thank you for listening to the podcast. Listen to me next time. Thank you guys. Bye.